would you describe Track in one word or one phrase or one sentence?
We'll describe it as the home of ACU sport.
Hi guys, welcome back to our Regroup podcast, a chance for us to regroup as a community at ACU. Hi Father, how are you going?
I'm good, Jake. How are you?
Yeah, really well, thanks Father. Enjoying the weather. It's a nice sunny day today. It's just perfect.
It is.
So Father, it's been a busy week as per usual. Plenty still happening around campus ministry. So make sure if you guys haven't checked it out yet that you go over to our Facebook page or our Instagram and check out what's happening at campus ministry in Melbourne. One of the things that we have coming up next week at campus ministry is a really cool sunset session called I Ship It. We'll be talking about building healthy relationships and dating, especially in our society today, where there can be some real challenges to dating. So definitely come along, check that out. You can register via ACU Live. That would be fantastic. Or you can jump on and click going to our Facebook event. So Father, it's been a crazy couple of weeks, plenty going on. And as per usual, we've had some great discussions in Connect groups. One of those discussions was around just authenticity. And I'd love to know your thoughts around living authentically as a Christian.
Yeah, thank you, Jake. It's simple but not simple, I think, to live as an authentic Christian or authentic Catholic. But simply I could answer this: the authenticity as a Christian is to know the truth and stick to that truth, the ultimate truth that is Jesus Christ. And I was actually interested in to see your poster when we promote this session with the students about authenticity. You says authenticity requires vulnerability, transparency, and integrity. So first, vulnerability. Do not be afraid to be changed by the mercy and love of God. We can feel weak sometimes, but don't be afraid for that, because that's a point, that's a moment that God can work in and through you most. Transparency. Be open to the message of God through so many means in our daily lives, from people around you, from the nature. Be open to listen to God's word. Integrity. Stick to the truth. Jesus Christ. We just stick to him. And that's the word authenticity, I think, for me. To know the truth and stick to the truth, who is Jesus Christ.
Fantastic, Father. That's very deep insight. Thank you so much. I kind of have a follow-up question, actually, like leading on from that. How do you be authentic with social media, where social media kind of is sometimes all about keeping up appearances and having a particular look, where authenticity might be a little bit more difficult? Like, how do you kind of gel the two together?
That's very interesting, isn't it? Like, pandemic can be an excuse for us to use more social media. But yet, I think we already began to use it and spend lots of time on it before COVID anyway. So there are so many materials going around on social media platform. And I think this is a great opportunity for us to proclaim the message of God, the gospel. The world is changing, obviously. The method of preaching the gospel has been developed through the years and generations. Think about it. In Jesus' time, there was no phones. In 100 years ago, there's no phones, of course, or no internet at all. But now we are using the different platform. So the truth hasn't been changed. It can't be changed. But only the method of delivering this truth develops. And as I mentioned before, the truth about Jesus Christ, the truth himself. So even if we can't see each other face to face for now, we can be still very authentic followers of Christ and share this truth on social media platform.
Sometimes we forget social media can be used to share good news and to share the truth. it kind of actually reminds me of how we used to preach the gospel on the corner of the street, and now we're kind of preaching the gospel on the corner of the internet. It's funny how we develop and grow.
Why not, obviously? It's a new world, a new method, but the same truth.
All right, guys. So now we're going to dive into our interview with Tait today. But before we do that, I just want to remind you guys to make sure that you're subscribing to our YouTube channel. I feel like we forget to give it a quick plug sometimes, so I'll do it now. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Join us on our ACU Life platform. Check out our Facebook and Instagram. Wherever there's social media, I'm sure Campus Ministry has an account, and they'll all be linked in the description below. But now let's dive into our interview with Tait. Hey everyone, so today we're joined by Tait from The Track. Tait, how you going?
Good, thanks, Jay. Thanks for having me, guys.
Nah, our pleasure. Great to have you. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Tait.
Yeah, so I've actually only been at ACU for 2 months now, but my background is I come from a sports management and events background. So I was at working in athletics for the last 5 years prior to this role. So looking after primary and secondary school athletics programs across Australia. So that was, a really good experience. I don't have an athletics background, but very passionate about sport and health and fitness. So that was, really good. And then what attracted me to moving to ACU was sort of, we're still working in sport, but working on a variety of different events and promoting health and fitness to students.
Good, thanks for sharing. So, Tait, how did you end up in your current role?
Yeah, as I mentioned, I saw this role come up at ACU. It really appealed to me, just to that, as I said before, just that chance to work on a variety of different events, and I enjoy interacting with people. So getting the chance to interact with students and promote sport, something that I'm really passionate about, and health and fitness, was a real draw card to working in ACU. Even though I haven't spent too much time on campus during this period, just finding ways to interact with students while they're at home during this tough period, and still promoting that messaging of all the sport programs and health initiatives that ACU has to offer. Something I really enjoy about the role.
Fantastic. It sounds like you've definitely kind of had quite a bit of experience in sport and kind of led you naturally into your role at ACU, which is awesome. So Tait, we had on Rima from ACU Sports Gym a couple of months ago, and you're from ACU Track. So can you tell us a little bit about like what the differences are and how your approach is different?
Yeah. So we're all still part of the ACU sport department together. So I do quite a bit of work with Rima and her team. But from the track's point of view, it's on campus in Melbourne. We've got a track in Melbourne and now North Sydney. So it's just a space where students and staff, as Father Michael knows, you can come and play table tennis and shoot some hoops. It's just a space where students and staff can come hang out. It's really what we call the home of ACU sport. So it's where they can come and get some more information about joining sports clubs or other initiatives that we've got going on. It's also great. It's got a big screen where people can come watch live sport in between classes. We don't promote skipping classes and watching sport, but it's just, really a place where students can come and relax, learn more about sport. So although I've only actually physically spent one day in there before going back into lockdown, I'm looking forward to getting back in there and interacting with students. And it's a space as well that we use quite a bit for activations, for different national days and other sporting events that might be happening, helping promote those as well.
What are some of the opportunities that the track can offer to students? And I'm sure it looks a little different at the moment, but how have you adapted your approach as well?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's from being my time at ASU, it's pretty much been all digital. So yeah, we've really shifted the track's focus to that digital space. So using our Facebook and Instagram pages, that's the best way we've found to interact with students while they can't have that face-to-face interaction. So we've come up with a number of initiatives throughout this time to help keep students active and engaged. I know you've only got your 1 or 2 hours exercise you can do at the moment, but we've come up with something that's worked really successfully is our 8-week running challenge that we've set up. So we had over 200 people register for that, and we sort of set people weekly challenges to go out and complete. And we have weekly prizes for that as well. So that's worked really well. It's just an example of how that while people are at home, we can still interact with them and see them going out and being active is something that, yeah, we're really passionate about in the ACU sport department. And other initiatives as well, as it's given us a chance to work with other departments. So I've had the chance to work with student enrichment and campus ministry as well. So Jake and myself and Joe from student enrichment have been running a number of trivias. We're getting quite good at those. So that's just another fun way that we might not be in the track interacting with students, but it's just a way that while they're at home, we can take their focus away from the stress of studying, and then they can have a bit of fun while they're at home and still interact with other students online.
Wow, it sounds like you've still got a fair bit on offer at the track. What's the best way to kind of stay in the loop, especially with the trivia and the 8-week challenge and all that? Where can students link in? And is there anything big coming up in the next couple of weeks that you want to make sure that students put on their radar?
Yeah, well, as I mentioned, our trivias are always a highlight, Jake. So I'll give them a bit of a plug. We're hoping to do one next week at some stage. So, yeah, I would say keep an eye out, as I mentioned before, our Facebook and Instagram pages, but also the new ACU Life platform we've found has worked really well. So that's where we create our events. So the Track Melbourne has a page on there as well as all our sporting clubs. So it's a platform that allows us to create events that people can click attending and also see when their friends are attending as well, and gives them a calendar reminder. We know with some students they might get a bit forgetful, so it's a good way to set a reminder, and it's also a good platform for us to communicate with students. So yeah, those 3 platforms, you've got Facebook, Instagram and ACU Life, are the places to keep an eye out on the track's events.
Definitely, and I'll make sure we link that in the description and at the end of the video as well.
Yes, it's great. I recently actually talked to a few students about their mental health and physical health, and I'm sure this is quite a huge issue recently with the current situation. So could you give us any tips for the students who are listening to this podcast, how we can stay active and healthy?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I totally agree there that during this period, it's been tough on everyone, but with students carrying the load with studying for uni while being stuck at home, I think exercise is important as ever. So that's what I mentioned before about our 8-week running challenge has been really beneficial to shift people's focus away and give them a goal, to set a goal and then go out and achieve it. But some tips that me personally, and I've chatted to some students online as well, is that I like to go out, if I go out for a walk or a run, is using a podcast as a good way of passing the time, because I personally find when I go for a long run or a long walk, by the end it can get a bit boring and you just want to get home by the end. But I found during this period listening to podcasts, so even this one that we're on now is a good way to pass the time and shift your focus away. But while you're still being outside and exercising, I think that's a really good option for when you're looking to exercise. And I know some people can get quite bored, but I would look to listening to podcasts if you can while you're going out and exercising.
Fantastic. A great idea. And I love the plug for our podcast. Make sure, guys, check it out. Give it a listen on your next run.
Exactly.
So, Tait, thank you so much for joining us for our chat today. We really appreciate you making the time once again. And it's awesome to have you on board. So hopefully we get to do this again soon. Catch you soon.
No worries. Thanks, Jake. Thanks, Father Michael.
Thanks.
Thank you, Tait.